Hello, all of you beautiful people. How are you today? I hope you had a wonderful solstice and Christmas to those of you who celebrated. And we are on the cusp of a new year with this particular calendar. So I thought that we would do a journey around the wheel with the tarot cards. And this will be a healing journey. We're going to bring in Ogham, the Irish trees, and we're going to bring in some of the tarot cards, as well as some of the tree oils. Now, even if you don't have these particular trees, you would be advised to perhaps find a book of local healing herbs and trees in your area from the native peoples and correlate the ones that you think go instead of the Irish Ogham that I'm using. That is how I would use the Ogham if I was living abroad. Okay, so a little hint for you. So settle yourself down and relax. Get really comfortable as we take an altar cloth. And these are sari remnants that I use to wrap up birthday presents. They're double-sided, you can find them on Etsy, and they're absolutely beautiful. You get a random bunch. And I use these as altar cloths. We're going to use this gold one today. It has a green backing. Both colours are very auspicious. But before we do anything, we need to ground and protect. I'm just standing up. I'm just going to grab a piece of petrified wood. I'm just going to hold that up, and I want you just to imagine that your feet are resting on this piece of wood. It's like a standing stone, isn't it? Just imagine that being dragged down your body as you breathe in and breathe out, relaxing. We just place that down there. For those of you who like to grow roots out of your body and down into the ground below you, downwards and downwards and downwards, pushing through the foundations of your building deeper and deeper, pushing through the hard frozen ground in the northern hemisphere or the soft earth in the southern hemisphere as you are still in summer. Grow those roots down and down and down until they reach the mineral pools of the inner earth and they find a giant piece of obsidian and they wrap themselves around it to keep you tight to Gaia. And then we need to protect ourselves. I want you to imagine a spinning orb of light, love and protection as it emerges from the heavens and travels down towards you, and it encompasses you. And I'm using this piece of raw Herkimer diamond, surrounding you, cleansing you from those EMF properties, any pollution, as it purifies you. And we're just going to pop that there as well. And I'm just going to put those here so you can see that is grounding at the middle of the earth. That was the tree we brought down here, and this is cleansing this Herkimer diamond. So we've grounded and we've protected. Okay. And now we're going to start our journey around the wheel. And the first card signifies you. And it is the Fool. And the Fool is taking a step off the precipice into the unknown. And that is what we are doing. We're doing it every single day, but particularly at the beginning of the year when we are wishing perhaps that this coming year, 2023, as this is recorded in 22, we are hoping that 23 will be a better year. And whenever you watch this in the future, and I'm just going to draw the Celtic Reiki yew tree. Yeah. I've just drawn that tree because it is a distant healing tree and we can project this into the future. But the Fool always takes a leap of faith. They are impulsive, and it is the beginning, and you begin every minute. You begin again, every hour you begin again, every day you begin again, every week you begin again, and every month you begin again, and then every year you begin again. So I want you just to take a breath in, and I want you to set your intentions as the Fool with his faithful hound takes that leap, that step, that leap of faith. Set your intentions, but also state that you wish to be able to navigate whatever is thrown at you, be able to sidestep and move around. Become mutable like water so that you flow around things that might happen. And the oil that we are going to use for this is going to be mistletoe. The Druids call this all heal. Now, there are a couple of different Ogham systems, and this one will be Owen, honeysuckle as well as mistletoe, just drawing that in. It is a master symbol. And then the rune for that would be Ger, would be harvest. But all heal is abundant at this time of year in the West Country. Just breathe in that sweet, sickly scent of the leaves and the berries and the bark. It's a soft wood, mistletoe. Very fruity and sweet, almost like a syrup. So that is the signifier, that is you. Got your bag, you're ready to go. And then we move to the first card. which is at the top of the wheel. And this, a lot of people get scared from this card, and it is not so. This is the Death card, and it is because we are at the gateway. We are still in solstice energies, and we are at a gateway to a new year. The transmutation of things and the transformation and ending of that year and a beginning of a new year. And this card has someone just lying there by the cauldron, Ceridwen's cauldron of transformation. Ceridwen is a Welsh goddess. And we have two people in supplication, we have someone there, and we have the child within them offering flowers. So as this year ends, just imagine stepping through a gateway into this new year, into this new beginning. And we use the sacred oil of Ioho. That is the symbol I just drew in for distant healing. And I'm just going to anoint this stick with the oil. This one is not as sweet as the mistletoe. And what I'm going to do with this is I am going to hold the pendulum over this symbol, and I'm going to tell it to absorb. And it might look like it's going clockwise in the camera, but it is going anti-clockwise. And it is just going to absorb this Irish Ogham of the yew tree. And the yew tree is a tree of rebirth, everlasting energy. Yew trees can grow for 2,000 years plus, and they rest their arms on the floor and regenerate new trees. The bark is poisonous, the pips are poisonous, but the flesh is not of the red berries. That is just going to spin until it is happy. And this particular tree was collected at the Stonehenge area. So I'm now just going to hold this over you, and I'm going to say release, and you'll notice it spins a different way as it releases this yew tree energy. Yo, yo, yo. So this particular tree cleanses. It fights poisons and toxins. That's why it's used in cancer therapy. But it signifies ancestors. And the ancestors line just keeps on traveling. Even if you don't have children, you are standing on the earth line. We have a vertical bloodline. We have a horizontal earth memory line, and you are still participating. Just going to let that spin until it is happy. There we go. So as you have stepped off the precipice, you are now walking through that gateway of birth and death and rebirth into a new time frame. Okay, I'll put that down there. Now these trees and cards, you may have to face each of them or a couple of them on each day. But the Wheel of Fortune, which is the next card I have chosen, is always turning. it is the card of fate, of new cycles and new opportunities. You cannot stop a wheel of fortune. We can only hope that it will be beneficial to us. So the tree that we have chosen for this and the oil is the birch tree, whose time of year it is now in the Celtic calendar, which is a modern invention, I might add. We're going to use this birch oil, and the rune for that is Berkana, I believe, a witchcraft oil, a witchcraft rune. So we're just going to anoint this tree with this antiseptic smelling birch tree perfume oil. And I will list where these have come from in the show notes. Starchild in Glastonbury, an amazing herbal shop. And let's just absorb the medicine of this Ogham bath. And hoping that the fates and the destiny will be beneficial to us, that we will be able to navigate these new cycles and reach for the new opportunities. Help us discern which will be good for us and which to leave alone. Absorb, absorb, absorb. Okay, so that is happy with that. And I'm now just going to hold this over you and tell it to release. Release your beautiful energies. Whoops, sorry, I'm moving there. I just knocked over an oil. Release, release, release. Help us take advantage of the new start, of the beginnings and the cleansings of this beautiful tree whose sap is rising. Whether you use white birch oil or silver birch oil, this is a tree, and the Ogham that I chose for this is ancient Wessex. From ancient Wessex, I picked this around the sacred town of Winchester, where the old Anglo-Saxon King Alfred was from. Okay. Release, release, release. Breathe in and just breathe in that fragrance of the birch, of the bath. As we next reach, put the lids on these oils, for the next Ogham and also the next Tarot. So the next tarot card we have chosen would be the Chariot. The tree would be hazel, as well as the oil, and the rune would be, I think that's ash tree. But we're using hazel, we are using coal. The Chariot determines your action. It takes determination. One of these dragons is leading right and the other is leading left. You have to keep them in control. And these can be the two aspects of you as well. Watch your self-control. Keep on the straight and narrow. Don't get waylaid too far this way or waylaid too far that way. If you do, you can get confused. And you can even abandon your projects, and we don't want that. So let's just put that up there so you can see. Let's open this hazel, this coal. And this helps with your intuition. It goes straight to the source, okay? The source, the place. It also lights a fire in the mind, we are told. Kind of sweet and sour at the same time. We ask the pendulum to absorb the energies of coal. And this was picked in Avebury. This was picked at the River Kennet, well, it's a stream really, at East Kennet, between the Long Barrows. There is also a mini Silbury Hill near there, and it was picked along the riverbank there, just next to the road that drives from Marlborough, for those who know it. And this is a tree of action. It is a tree of knowledge. And we ask that it aid you with your self-control, keeping on that straight and narrow, leading you straight to the source if you need to go there, not deviating to the left and not deviating to the right. Okay, we're now going to hold these energies over you and ask it to release. Release the hazelnut energy, the catkin energy, the beautiful leaves that will sprout. After a quarter of a year has gone, we've still got a quarter of a cycle to go before we enter the warmth again in the northern hemisphere. And it is a time when we are indoors, we are thinking about things more often. Make your lists now. What is it you wish to achieve this year? Perhaps your short-term goals and then your longer-term goals. Asking the hazel, the coal energy, to help you with that. Coal. There is ancient folklore from Ireland that talks of a pool or a well where the salmon swim, and there were 5 hazel trees above it dropping their nuts into this well, and those salmon drank and ate the water and the nuts and gained all the knowledge. That is why we talk about the wisdom of the salmon. There's a little bit of folklore for you as you keep on the straight and narrow. But to keep on that straight and narrow, we need to have strength. We need courage. We need valor. We need fortitude. And I've chosen a difficult tree to work with here. As we look at this dragon, the rays of the Arwen, Nuefri energy, travel down her. This middle one travels down from the solstice points. And as she holds her arms out, each of those rays signifies the rays of the sun at 12 o'clock midday on the equinoxes, so that you are attached to all points of the compass. And over this year, you are going to have strife. This is the blackthorn. This is the first flower, the first tree of the Ogham to flower. It was one of the thorns. And it has spines about that big. But if you can be careful, after the creamy white early March time flowers have bloomed, they start to form the fruits, which can be about that big, and we call them sloe berries. If you've ever drank sloe gin, that is the berries. They're big and purple, full of antioxidants. So we're just going to anoint this Ogham. Oh, it's not so sickly, this one. It's got a bit of bitterness to it, much like the actual tree, the strife. No choice, however unpleasant, you will have to go through it. And this is where we ask for you to become mutable. Absorb, please, pendulum. This is where we ask for you to be able to navigate even without those choices. You have to go through these motions. If somebody dies, for instance, we have to go through a grieving process, and that'll be difficult, but each day we step into this new energy. It is a day closer to when you will have come to terms with it. So even though the way may be hard to navigate, you have the strength and the courage to drive your chariot through the best course of action to you. It is a cleansing as well. And this particular tree was also drawn from the Avebury area, a very sacred place to me, where all the crop circles are as well. And this too was harvested from the banks of the Kennet or the Winterbourne stream, in between East and West Kennet long barrows. And this particular pendulum, a Tahuti pendulum, a Thoth pendulum, modelled on one that was found in the tombs, is a certain kind of wood that absorbs medicine, and we use this to release. I use it to absorb even aspirins if I don't want to take it. Release, release, release. Help whoever is watching to have the strength to guide their chariot well through the easiest course for them. Help the rays of Arwen keep them connected to the sun and to the earth. We ask for their spirit companions, familiars to lend energy, as well as their spirit guides and their angels. And we help them have a thorough cleansing. We ask for the strife to be walked through carefully, steadily, so that they don't have to revisit again. Okay, that pendulum is happy. Breathe in and out. Well done. Okay. Let's put the lid back on that. And our next oil. I forgot to say the rune for that would be Thuras, thorn. Okay. So the next one that we have chosen is temperance, or equilibrium as it's called on this deck of cards. And the tree that we have chosen would be Hweth, the hawthorn. And you can see that this balancing act has a higher purpose. It has divine guidance as well, perhaps. On the flip side, you could cause disharmony and imbalance and capriciousness. She has one foot on the land and she has one on the water, telling you that she can move through the elements. The sun beats down on her and she breathes the air, but she juggles this water, moving it perhaps like this rainbow from one to the other. But she is connected to all of those elements. So keeping that balance is what this card is about. And the Hueth oil, this is the witch's tree. This is the beltane flower. When we talk about the oak and the ash and the thorn as druids, we are talking about this tree, the witch's tree. Absorb, please, pendulum. This offers protection, cleansing. It stands for chastity as well. It is another action tree. And this one was harvested near Stonehenge in the woodlands around there. This is a very good tree that burns well, and it is often marking ley lines. It has beautiful red, yellow and orange berries, mainly red, and is very well used in spells. So we ask this to absorb all of the cleansing, all of the magical energy, the action energy, again helping the person to keep in balance and equilibrium for this year. Okay, that is happy with what it has absorbed. Now we hold it over the screen as I send the energy of the Hueth from my hand, and it releases the energy of Hueth, hawthorn, from the pendulum. Release, release, release. Help this person maintain balance, equilibrium, holding their chariot well with strength and fortitude. Give them cleansing and give them courage at the same time. Lots of things coming from lots of trees. Okay, that one wasn't going for so long. It's just small. There we go. Okay. Breathe in. Then we come. I can't see the rune on the side of this one, I'm afraid. Elwaz, probably. So the next card that we have chosen is the Sun. Celebration, kinship, success. A very auspicious card. Here we have the Mabon who returned, the stolen child, the prodigal son who returned with those beautiful sunflowers. And we have it over the horse. Oh, I can't remember the name of that horse. I will put it in the show notes. It's on the tip of my tongue. I know exactly where it is. I have been. This is a horse drawn by the old tribes on the chalk hills. And horses stand for moving forwards and travelling. They also form a good partnership with humans, don't they? And that is on the tip of my tongue. It is so annoying that I cannot. The Uffington horse, it is called, Uffington. It is near a long barrow, a very ancient long barrow. And I can't remember that name either now, the something smithy barrow. I'll look it up and put it in the show notes in the Oxford area of England. And the tree that we have chosen for that is the Dwyer, the Druid's tree, the oak tree. As we, beautiful smell, and that would be at the zenith of the year. So almost 6 months, in fact, exactly 6 months on. And the rune for that would be manas, human, so dealing with your humans. This is for partnerships, kinship, success, celebration. On the flip side, it can be pessimism. It can also be setbacks. So, but we ask for the positive energy of the Dwyer, the Druid's tree, the oak tree. And the Dwyer is solid protection. It is a doorway to the mysteries. It is strength. And this Dwyer was harvested in Wessex woodland around Winchester, asking this pendulum to absorb the energy of the Dwyer and the sun, the Oak King at his highest, at his strongest. And he, the Oak King, the tree, supports myriad of life forms. You'll have ants, so many bugs, I cannot name them, but also squirrels, also a multitude of birds. It may even shelter little animals who need to climb up the tree away from predators on the ground. It is an ecosystem within itself. You imagine yourself sitting with your back propped against this Dwyer, this oak. You will have oxygen pouring down on you because the tree breathes in the CO2. You'll have the acorns, which, if picked up and carried, are supposed to keep you young. It is a tree that often absorbs lightning strikes. The thunder tree, it is often called. It also, as they get really old and the heartwood dies out, they are hollow and they can be stood within. 2 of our monarchs hid in oak trees. Queen Elizabeth I in the 1600s hid in a tree in a snowstorm. And King Charles II, not the king that we have now, the Charles before him, in 1600 and something, hid in the canopy of an oak tree as the Roundhead soldiers looked for him. They didn't look up, they weren't clever enough. The mistletoe that grows in the oak was the most sacred, release please your energy pendulum, was the most sacred tree to the Druids. That mistletoe was the most sacred because it grew closest to the heavens. And when they harvested it, they would hold a white sheet under it so that the mistletoe did not land on the ground and become tainted. The ring on my finger is called Warrior Agate, sending that energy to you as well. As you have the intelligence, the knowledge, the fortitude and the standing to weather whatever is thrown at you this coming year. Breathe in and release. Okay, sending that oak vibration, the Dwyer. The Dwyer. The oak of the Druids. Oldest of woods. Okay. And the last tree today, and the last card of this particular healing, a slightly different healing, we've combined Ogham and Tarot, is the world. And I wish you the world, mastery over all of the 4 elements and the 5th, including acacia. And the tree that I have chosen today for this is the Scots pine or the fir tree. In America, you would have fir trees, but also Douglas firs. And it is because it is a pine tree, but it is also a fir tree, so whichever tree you live near, but it brings in more grounding. Okay, so the symbol is called Elim. Elim. And this one has come from the New Forest. I could have actually picked this in a street near me. There's so many of these trees. And the world is another new cycle, isn't it? Objectivity, authenticity. Absorb, please, pendulum. And this tree is so tall that it offers high views. It sees the bigger picture. You can climb to the top of this, and it's a bit like eagle magic. It flies higher than everything else. It sees farther into the distance. Huge, large fir cones from this particular tree that I harvested, bigger than my hand, holding all of those seeds of potential for new life. Just imagine now a different kind of tree, a big, tall fir tree. Feel how it bends in the wind, in the winter gales. It bends, it becomes supple so that it doesn't break. Even though it is very steady and strong and high, it does not snap. It weighs up all the options. It shows you on that card that I held up that you can see her legs are in the position of the number 4, or Jupiter perhaps, or is it Saturn? I always get those two mixed up. I'll have to look on my chart. But mastery over those 4 elements, 5 if you include acacia. Absorb, absorb, absorb. Okay, that is happy. Well, now I'm just going to hold this up. I want you to imagine that you are this person in the middle. You hold those 2 wands, probably one of willow and one of hawthorn. Release, please, pendulum. You hold mastery. You can do it. Encompass those elements around you. Mix and merge them, because none can work without the others. And know that the universe and the world has got your back. Mystics say we are never given anything that we can't deal with, even if it feels like absolute hell as we go through it. We can always navigate it. We are adaptable. That is how we have lasted on this planet for so long. We adapt. And you can adapt. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, they say, and that is so true. Release, release, release. Breathe in. Okay. So you have and you will gain the world. The sun will shine down. You will move forward as the light returns, but also in every day of this year you can do all of these. You will hold that equilibrium and you will balance things okay. You have that strength and that inspiration, you are aligned with the sun and with the earth. You can steer your steeds in any direction. One will pull one way, one will pull the other. You can keep them on the straight and narrow. The wheel always turns, it never stops. It brings us fortune, it makes us lose things. But if you lose things and you hit rock bottom, the only way you can go is up, remember, okay? There is a new beginning every day, every hour. You can start again, you can try again. You stand on a threshold. Take care of that. Step in with bravity, knowing that the parts of yourselves are willing you forward, your ancestors are willing you forward, your team of guides are willing you forward. And step forth with optimism and not trepidation. If you are an optimist, a glass half full person, I promise you that your life will get better. Remember, you get back what you put out. So if you are moaning and doom and gloom and oh, woe is me is going to come back at you. If you are happy and hearty and wishful and beneficial to those around you and optimistic, it'll come back at you, I promise. And now we hold all of these beautiful trees in this forest. I want you to imagine yourself simply sitting in a grove of trees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm going to put 8 in. I'm going to use the sycamore, which is a tree that is on the rise, instead of mistletoe. And this is the last one we're going to do. I'm going to ask it to absorb, and I want you all to visualize that grove of trees around you, the sycamore, the fir tree, the hawthorn, the blackthorn, the oak. What is this one? The hazel and the earhaw, the yew tree, and just feel them forming a barricade around you, a protective, healing and cleansing hedge row of trees in your grove, your inner grove. Sit on the earth and imagine your hands placed like that arwen, those streams of light from the sun. And the sun is right overhead of you. And the rays of light shine down, illuminating your crown from solstice to solstice, exiting your root chakra or your lower dantian. And then 2 rays of light at each equinox enter your crown and travel down your arms into the earth, and let the magnetism, the energy of the solstices and the equinoxes keep you balanced, horizontally and polarity. A kind of axiotonal alignment. This is releasing its energy into you. All of these trees together. Breathe in. It smells absolutely divine here with all of these oils. As we set and reset for a new year, I will be releasing this just before January the 1st. But you can return to this again and again. Your new year, you might turn over a new leaf in March, so do it from March to March. Every day is the start of a new year, don't forget that. So this has been quite a long one today. And I thank you for staying till the end, if you stayed. If not, oh well, it's not for everyone. And I'm just going to ground you, although because this is Celtic Reiki, you're probably feeling pretty grounded anyway. And I'd like to thank the energy of the tarot cards, the Ogham, and stones. The Herkimer diamond for cleansing and elevating your consciousness. The black obsidian's Apache tear for holding you stable from the center of the earth. And the petrified woods of the forest for bringing oxygen into you, knowledge from the tree world and the stone people. Breathe in and breathe down. Thank you for watching and subscribing and all of your support, and I welcome any new people into the Reiki Dreams tribe. Love and light to you, my friend, and I will see you next time.